So yeah, we've got the UK, Australia, Ireland, and US. It's pretty cool. So we've got everyone from around the world.
I'm actually coming in from the ISS space station now.
It'd be the safest place not on Earth.
Oh my goodness gracious, right?
I am such a freak about all that stuff, especially because I love Elon Musk so much. Did you guys see the landing?
Yeah.
Was it good?
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh, it was awesome. It's not like they did in the 1960s.
Mm.
Oh, I bet.
It landed and there was a boat just waiting for it right there. It landed within 25 feet of it.
Just as well they went off.
It probably was the day his stock bounced up.
Yeah. Okay.
So, who wants to go first?
Well, you have the questions, young
That's a
lady.
good point. Okay, let me just pick one at random. So, is there any location you would have loved to have the opportunity to film at?
My favorite was Agua Caliente Casino in Palm Desert. Remember the gambling episode?
Oh,
BJ?
yeah.
Yeah.
Doug
Season
Arian
7.
directed it. Yeah, that was the most fun. And the crew was there for 2 days, and a couple of them, Darcy was asked to leave by security. He got so shit-faced because, after 10 hours of shooting, the crew had all night to go. Some, I think, partied all night and came back to shooting the next morning for the second day. And it was a rowdy group.
Especially without sleep.
Yeah, that's how many times have we done that?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
I mean, that was my favorite. That was my favorite most because it was inside and out.
What about yours, BJ?
It's hard to say. I feel, for me, costume-wise, I feel like the ones that Matthew directs tend to be my favorite because I can go crazy with them. But I'll tell you, the first one that really sticks out to me, and it was season 1, and it was written by Erica, and she had a writing partner back then, Deb. She was just a writer. Ed was still running the show. And we were hunting, the serial killer was hunting people with a bow and arrow. And I remember being completely appalled that the girls had written that script. And for the first time, I kind of realized that we were hunting people. I remember saying something to Shamar, and he goes, BJ, we hunt people every week. They're just using a bow and arrow this week. So that one really stands out in my mind.
Is that the one they played a gimmick with him with the bear?
Oh, yeah, we got a costume. We got a costume for Bigfoot, and Adam put it on and went running across, and then we got a bear another time. Yeah, both times Shamar was scared to death. It was pretty funny.
I remember hearing about that one, and I think it's on the like bloopers of the
No, I didn't
DVD.
think of that. I wish I had.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I think Felix might have directed that one, but I don't know.
What do you miss most about being on set?
Say again?
What do you miss the most about being on set?
Being on set.
Yeah. Seeing everybody every day.
Yeah.
It's just a habit. I only did 10 years. BJ did all 15. But that 10 years, I mean, just those people you see every morning when you get in. I would come in, well, so would BJ, very early in the morning, regardless of when this call time was. call time could have been noon on location somewhere. And I was still in at 6 or 7 every morning. And just the people you work with every day and the meetings, we'd have some big laughs. Not so much on the serious episodes, but just the camaraderie. There was only 2 people that left the show while I was there. One was of their choosing and they wanted to move on, and one was our choosing. But it was just those same smiling faces every day, knowing all totally cool and professional and could do their jobs. And you just counted on them. And it was second nature, second guessing, a second language, like.
Yeah, I think when you've all been together that long, and we were lucky, I think there were 41 or 43 from the beginning, you do have a secondhand speak with everybody. And everybody sort of knows what's expected of them of their department, or who you can lean on in another department, when the episodes were really big and you needed help. And I just think we were so blessed that we had such an extraordinary group there. And that's, I think, what made the show such a success also. Obviously it's everyone contributing, from producers to writers to actors and everyone else in their department. But when everyone really comes together and it gels in the way that our show did, it was really wonderful. And a lot of actors would say that they had heard from other actors how great our show was and how easy it was to be on it, because our cast was always very welcoming. And sometimes on other shows that have been on for a while, the cast won't talk to the day players or take them in. And I just think the whole group, because everyone was together for so long, that was part of it. It's like going from kindergarten to 12th grade with one another. It's quite a lot. It's half my career was spent on that show. So it's like, that's the sad part in a way. At first it's weird not moving on to another show, because I used to do features, but then it's so wonderful to come back every year and see the same faces that you love and adore, all these people. It was really a wonderful experience. It really was.
What I kind of loved, we'd get a script and the next day there'd be a concept meeting. Now, a couple of us would have early drafts, especially if there was something really big coming up, where BJ would have to know about it more than one day ahead or something. But everybody would read it at night and come in the morning to this concept meeting, every department head, and they just spit out all these great ideas or had great questions, and it got to where I got real lazy because, shit, you guys tell me what to do,
That's not true.
All I do is guide the ship. That's how I look at my job. But every person would ask these intelligent questions that sometimes would blow my mind. I say, shit, I never thought of that. BJ would ask.
But you guys, as the producers, allowed that atmosphere. And I think that that's what was part of it, because everyone felt so involved with it, like you could have a say as to what was going on, whether it was the end result or not. Everybody was able to say what they thought. And I think that is a very rare atmosphere also for this business to be in, because a lot of directors or producers or whatever, I know shows where the producers pick out the clothes, and like, I feel like I could never work on a show like that. And I feel so spoiled from having been on Criminal Minds and worked with such wonderful producers that really created that environment for everyone to do their craft to the best of their ability. And that makes your job, that makes you put in so much more, because you feel valued all the time. And it's just a wonderful experience to work in those kind of conditions. You can't beat it.
you know, unless an episode was special, in most shows I've been on, the costume designer needs to show pictures of the wardrobe before it's shot to the director or the writer, maybe the showrunner. That was not the case on our show. I mean, for God's sake, on the wedding, on the wedding episode, I don't know seasons. Yeah,
AJ?
nobody saw the wedding gown until she came to set. Nobody saw it except DJ. and
that was,
highly unusual.
yeah. It was really nice. And I really feel like that started with Eddie B, because I remember asking him a question like our third or fourth show. And he said, BJ, I will never micromanage you. If I don't like what you're doing, I'll fire you. And I thought, fair enough. Because I'd rather have it be my ugly, do you know, because my name is on it, or my mistake. And trust me, you know, I made plenty of them. I would watch it and say, oh my gosh, throw that out. I don't want to use it again. But, you know, sometimes making it look real and ugly is part of the character too. And the thing with AJ, to me, she gave me the biggest compliment personally. She said, this dress is more me than the dress I wore at my own wedding. So, I mean, that meant the world to me.
I love that dress. It's like my favourite outfit of the entire job as well. Like, I always say that, but it's true. Like, it just looks so incredible on her as well. She just looks amazing.
Well, you just love AJ too. I appreciate that. I know how much you love her, and you know she does. She looks great in everything.
Yeah, it's hard to look bad.
Yeah, exactly.
To look like her.
Looks good in
True
anything.
that.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions you want to ask before I ask any more?
Probably just ask BJ about the process that you went through, deciding the sort of the costume profile for each of the characters, because there was always a strong sort of theme running through.
Thanks for that. You know, and I say this all the time, but to be able to arc the characters for that long was really so great. Like, I started out Reed wearing the same tie with every outfit because it was the only tie he had, and like he didn't know any better. And one time I had him wear it outside of the sweater. And that was the thing with the mismatched socks also, is that I just felt he was such a brainiac that he would never like even think about pairing them. And like the fourth or fifth episode, I was sorry that I didn't have him wear the same thing every day. Like, I thought maybe I should have had him just in black pants and white shirts the whole time. But, you know, he started out very geeky with short sleeves and weird ties. And I feel like over, you know, 15 seasons, his look changed very much, and he became, to me, he was very chic in the end. And occasionally I would do a throwback outfit, and I tried to give them each a color. So that was sort of their color. There was a little bit of overlapping in color for sure, but I tried to do a thread of color so that when you looked at all of them, particularly in the profile, that it was very smooth on your eye. And then Garcia was like my crazy wild card. She was always my little ray of sunshine with all that darkness. And I just want to put a PS in here that when I had said to Matthew over the phone before I met him about the mismatched socks, he came with mismatched socks. And he said that that's how he dressed anyway. And he was shocked when he heard me say that. So we sort of had a love fest right away.
Well, the socks, he always wore a different sock on each foot, regardless,
Right.
in real life.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think started a craze for that as well. Like, all the fans started doing that as well. Like, I don't wear matching socks anymore. Like, it became a thing that everyone was doing that.
I don't do it anymore. It's lovely.
Well, it solves the problem of lost socks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So lovely.
Pull it out the drawer and you're done. Okay, Harry, what has been your favourite guest star? Who's been your favourite guest star?
Whoa. Whoa. You know, it might be Grant Show, only because I hadn't seen him since Melrose Place. Now he's on a big hit, some other hotel or something. I don't know. But, God.
What about Matthew? Who was it? Was it Matthew Perry? Was he on Melrose?
No, he was 90210.
You want
Oh,
And any actor or actress that came to us from my past was my favorite. I gotta say, Mark Hamill was just a thrill,
Mhm.
just a thrill, and the sweetest guy in the world. And he had his daughter was going to USC, so we had some common things to talk about. And I spent that one all-nighter we spent when they blew up the house. I spent most of the night in Video Village with him when he wasn't actually performing. And he's just a lovely, lovely man, totally unaffected by his success,
that's true.
unlike me.
That's not true.
That's not true. I don't think. I've stayed crazy my whole life, and BJ knows that. I used to walk around the set. I've ebbed in the last couple of years with a hand farter. And I love when we'd have large background like in the BAU. And I just, that first scene in the morning and they were dressing and I just walk around and just lay a casual fart and walk by. And the looks, and some people were disgusted. Some people busted out laughing. I gave him out as a crew gift one time on Army Wives. For the whole crew. It's a little hand farter and you can conceal it and just lay out the most beautiful sounds you've ever heard.
Only you would say that, Harry.
I am.
You know, Harry did Melrose Place, and I did a short stint on Melrose Place. So I hadn't seen him for a very long time, and he was super playful on that show. And that show was tough because of all those double ups and everything. That show was insane, and you made that show so much better, Harry.
Well, you have to have fun.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't have fun in any industry, whatever you do, time to move on.
Just make your job fun, otherwise it just, what's the point? Okay, anybody else have some questions? Have you guys got any questions for us?
I was gonna
just
ask
on the topic
Harry-
of like,
Take note.
I was just going to ask Harry, how many times did your photograph appear on Criminal Minds? Because you were a dead agent, then you were on a lineup board. Any other times?
No. I mean, you mean my picture in the hallway?
Yeah.
Yeah. BAU.
Yeah. That was taken, I think, my first season. Somebody died and they had to refresh the board. So they asked me to do it. I was like, okay. So here I was in my first season and I was already dead.
Yeah, we had a lot of crew members on that wall.
Yeah, absolutely. Were you on it?
No. The only time I played a dead scene when Ed came back, I think the whole crew was like dead on the floor. I was dead on the floor. I played a hooker in the first year. And then again, they shot me for a book cover for some girls, I think, that had been abducted or something. And I remember I was so mad at Victoria. During the break, I was going to Bali and she was in Thailand. So she had me stop in Thailand. And you know, Thailand, it's about 1,000 degrees with the humidity and my hair was all stuck to my head. And she used that picture for them to look at on the plane. I thought I was going to kill her. So I was like, I do not want to see myself on the show.
Do you ever
I have
like
to go
watch?
back and watch.
Go ahead.
I have to go back and watch those episodes more closely.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's what
I
everyone's
did-
going to go do right after this. Like find that episode.
On the X-Files, I played a mortician. Yeah, played a mortician with a bow tie. That was my big fame to claim on that.
Never trust a man with a bow tie.
Well, David Duchovny was directing that episode, and he wanted me to play that.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, I know what he thought of me by his casting.
Yeah, when you're there, you don't want to do it. But afterwards, you look back and think, oh, I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Do you ever like watch old episodes or watch any episodes when they're on?
Was that? I'm sorry.
I haven't watched any, I must confess, but my recorder is still recording them like mad.
Well, you can go. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's on Ion 24 hours a day also.
Yeah. and
It's not even
we.
on TV here anymore.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
oh
it's
no.
not even on
Pay
here
t-
anymore.
On pay TV here, it's on twice a day, 7 days a week. So the weekends they're playing series 10, and the weekdays they're playing series 3 at the moment.
Wow.
Not since season 15 finished in March. Yeah, March, April. They've not aired it, but like they've aired it like twice. That's it. So it's
Yeah, I
it
think
kind of
Sky have stopped airing it, but I started watching it. I've been rewatching it on Amazon Prime, so it's pretty good to see it again.
I've been doing it on Netflix.
It's not on Netflix here. It's so annoying.
Really?
It's not on Netflix. It's yeah, got it on Amazon, but we can't get it on Netflix.
Yeah.
I thought the
Do you
first
have a
15 episodes.
Do you have a VPN?
I did, but not anymore.
Because you can watch Netflix in the US. Not that I would do it, but you can watch Netflix with your VPN.
I've got all the DVDs, so I'm good. But yeah.
Heard a rumor that Netflix was going to pick it up and start again, but I don't think it's true. Have you heard that, Harry?
No, I haven't. I've been out of all that loop, and I've never asked. I believe CBS, because now they have their own streaming service. I think they'll take over the last 3 seasons. They'll be on their streaming service, and I could see where they would.
That is one question everyone has been asking, I think, since the show ended. Like, do you think there'd ever be another season or like a movie or anything? Like, I know that question goes around a lot. That the guys did answer on Aisha's Zoom a few months back as well. Like, they're all up for it, but hopefully they might do in the future.
I could see a feature. I could see a movie made for TV and joining everybody, but it's too soon. You know, you need 5, maybe 10 years for that.
Too long.
I won't be doing it 10 years from now. I'm doing a pilot with Erica, and I think that'll be my swan song.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this since 1964.
Time for a break.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm enjoying, this is my first summer off. I don't know about you, BJ. My first summer off in 30 years.
Oh my gosh.
We're always going back to work and at least July 4th. And
I'm not even 30 years old yet. Like, that's insane.
what?
I'm not even 30 years old yet. That is insane. Like, you've been working in the industry before my parents were even born.
I look pretty good for 92.
You look fabulous for any age.
You look fab. Is it
Yeah,
like,
if, sorry,
How
mate.
about you, BJ? Do you see a revival?
No, I mean, I know what you're saying. Like, I figure if Full House can do it, then anyone can do it. And that's kind of cruel. I worked on Full House for a season. It's one of those things that I think also, I think it's too soon for everyone to want to get back together. But I also think with everyone not working and not knowing when anything is opening up, because everything continually is getting pushed, that I only know of 2 shows that are going right now. And the PPE on one of them is insane. They can't even have coffee makers unless they're approved by, I don't know, the CDC. It's something really pretty crazy, I think. I mean, I think it would be fun, of course, but
SWAT?
yeah,
Are you talking about SWAT?
yeah.
I saw photographs of them having their hair done with everybody was in full PPE, and the actors had masks on and having their hair cut. So
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, and the testing is pretty nuts that they're doing on everybody also. So, I mean, I guess that's the good part. You have to respect this disease for certain. I just feel like stopping all the economies is not a great thing. I don't see that as a way to handling this, because I think a lot of people are not going to come back from this financially. So,
yep. It's the same
tough.
around the world, isn't it? It's like everywhere it's like that at the moment.
Right? Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It's a crazy world we're in right now.
Yeah, and I think it's hard enough to sort of take social cues. This is horrible, but you know, because so many people are Botoxed and now you have a mask on. So it's like you have no idea where you stand with anyone. It's crazy.
I will admit, like, my one favourite thing about it is having to wear my clothes. I don't have to wear makeup.
Yes.
No one can
That's
see
a
my
good
face.
thing.
So I'm like, yeah,
Makeup
up and
artist.
ready.
The makeup and hair artists that work on the cast have to wear the mask and the shield. I don't know how they must get all steamed up, I guess. But,
especially in summertime.
Yeah.
especially in the summer.
Yeah, well, I've heard a lot of people complaining that it hurts behind their ears wearing a mask all day.
You have to get a cap with buttons. You attach it to the buttons, or if you've got long hair, ponytails, and attach it around your ponytails.
They actually make a button thing you can do behind the back of your head too. That has a piece of elastic. Yeah, and that keeps it off the ears.
I have one mask that has Velcro.
That's
Yeah.
we know way too much about masks now. I'll tell you what.
BJ, have you read Erica's script?
No.
Oh, it's about an emergency hospital, the lives of the doctors and nurses and stuff, but it's an emergency hospital. It's perfect. They're going to all be in those gowns, gloves, shields.
Smart.
You won't know who's frickin' talking because
Yeah, perfect for this, right? Everyone will have proper PPE on and be ready for camera.
Yeah. This is my favorite mask.
Yes.
Is it backwards? Is it backwards?
No, I can see it.
That's a good one.
As long as the Erica series doesn't cover coronavirus, because we don't need to see what we're all living through.
Lord, no.
Yeah, true.
We want to escape it, not live it again.
Watch it. Yeah, we don't want to watch it. We're already living it.
Yeah, so maybe another 10 years, maybe 20 years, we'll be ready for it.
Okay. Do you guys have any favourite characters from the show?
BJ, go.
Well, you can't say that because then it's like throwing the others under the bus. You know what I mean? It's like they're all good in different ways, in truth. You know, because they all have different representations. For me, costume-wise anyway. Personally, of course, I like them all.
Yeah. They're all great off-duty. I got along with all of them, save one, but no names.
You've got to tell us.
That's in the you'll never eat lunch in this town again book. Yeah.
Yeah. Can't figure it out. I ain't telling. But they were just all great. You know, especially my interaction was not a lot. It was high in the morning and stuff like that, but it wasn't a lot unless there was something coming up that I had to warn them about so they could put their 2 cents in. They were very in tune with the writers. If the writer had an episode and it wasn't going for 4 or 5 episodes down the road and they were starting to write it, they would get with the actors and let them know what was coming. Did they have any input? I know Joe would come in with input during, you know, when we go on hiatus and we come back like the first week of June into the writer's room only. And Joe would come in and speak with all the writers, and he had a couple ideas he'd throw out there, especially for the episode he was going to direct. And they'd run with it, you know. But I know the writers all had good rapport with the actors, especially when they had to go talk to them. Hey, how do you feel about jumping off a building?
Yeah, there was only one where there was not a good rapport, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's intrigued
That's
now.
another story.
I think my favorite, and they're all great, but Kirsten was the most fun. And I think maybe just her quirkiness is off camera as well. And because she started writing in the last 4 or 5 seasons, I was more involved with her offset than the other actors. So it was really great. And I loved it was a pain in the ass for everybody, but I loved having our actors direct an episode. They have no idea what we had to go through schedule-wise to make it happen. They'd have to be written very light in the previous episode, light in the episode after, maybe even the one they were directing. You know, a lot of fans, there'd be an episode on the air and I'd read the remarks the next day and they were saying, we hardly saw Matthew. Where was he? What was the thing? Well, number one, he had to take a couple episodes off and it was built into his contract to go do something else. So some episodes he just had to say he was visiting his mom. You know, and people get pissed and say, "Where is he?" You know, Thomas, PJ's phone went dead. Thomas lived in San Antonio, so he would have to have off almost every Friday and Monday if we could do it, one or the other. Sometimes he demanded both, and by hook or crook, we made it happen. Sometimes that made him lighten the episode, but believe me, if he only worked 5 days out of the 8, we took to shoot each episode. He worked nonstop on the 5 days he was there, because he had. You know, if you're giving them days off, because the way we schedule, and this is not the meeting to go into, but the way you schedule it, it's systematically go through the sets, shoot the whole set, whether it's location or whatever.
Mhm.
Some has to be shot that way. Well, if he only drives up in the police car at the end of the takedown or something like that, you got to shoot that when he's there. So you're not always shooting that on the night you should be. You know, we generally start off with 7 a.m. calls on a Monday, and by Friday we're taking a 10 to a 12 and going till midnight, like Thursday and Friday. Usually.
Oh yes, scheduling for you was the hardest thing, wasn't it? Because everyone was very demanding.
It made it very difficult. When he left the last 3 seasons, that part became easier, but then Matthew's schedule, he only signed, you know, instead of 22, he only signed up to do 18. So sometimes we try to cross-board, get him 1 day's work on an episode, you know, switch directors, there's a lot of tricks you can do that are costly, but that's what you do, and you have to, you know, work around somebody's schedule.
A lot of work.
How did we get there all of a sudden? I don't know. Oh, favorite actor.
You guys got any more questions?
I wanted to point out something that I appreciated as a fan. I'm a big fan of Supernatural. So I know the fandom absolutely loathed Kim Rhodes, but I love that you guys brought her on and did that. She is one of the most amazing people on the planet. I love her to death. And she's the polar opposite of anything you see on screen. But I was so happy to see y'all put her in an arc like that, because she really, I think, is an underused actress. She's just good.
Yeah,
but I was really glad.
I love
All right,
that arc.
question. Who was she?
She was the one that came in and basically shut down the BAU in season 13 that tried to get rid of them all and replace them all.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. She was lovely. Yeah. Okay.
She's a beam of sunshine in real life. She really is.
I really love her.
Cast against type.
Okay, so are we done?
Wait a minute.
Well, I was going to ask one more question, BJ.
Good question.
Yes.
What, Lisa?
When you were designing Garcia's clothes, what was your inspiration? Did you see the fabric, or did you have the vision in mind and then had to go out and search for get that perfect look?
No, you know, I started her off very homespun, sort of. You know, like she was adding bric-a-brac and fringe and just, you know, very simple things to her clothes. And she's very animated, she being Kirsten. So I made her clothes became even more animated. And I think that sort of built into her character as well. I mean, sometimes I would use dresses that already existed and I would rip them apart and put them back together in a different way. And sometimes I would find fabric and just build them. It really just depended. And like her last costume, that was a Dolce dress, and I bought it strictly for the fabric. And it was, to me, a little comic booky, but in a way that I felt really expressed her character in the end. And I completely tore the dress apart and reconstructed it. So, I mean, I obviously had a lot of fun with her character because I was constantly designing stuff for her character, which, you know, you love to do. And it was wonderful because I had excellent seamstresses the whole time that at first they'd say, "What do you want to do?" And, you know, we'd whip up sweaters. You know, that was the thing, is I put her in sweaters all the time too, because I didn't like the collars. And I think, you know, when you're busty, I think it's important to open your décolleté. And, you know, Kirsten is very full figured and her figure changed considerably size-wise. You know, we went through a lot. And sometimes I was adding fabric on the sides, and sometimes I was putting a secret built-in zipper to help it expand in the back, and, you know, whatever. But the thing I feel that I'm most proud of for that character is, I felt like it was really liberating for women who are not a size 2 or 4, or who maybe are a little Zoftic. Because if you go online, you see tons of people trying to dress like how I dressed her in that. Mm-hmm. So for me, that's personally a really great thing, and I feel like a great achievement for me. And to an extent a little bit with Matthew too, because I feel like those two characters, that nobody looked like them when we started the show, you know, 15 years ago. And then I felt like every show had two people that had become kind of quirky. And I remember Matthew saying something to me about that one time. He's like, hey, we were the first. I said, I agree with you. But yeah, so obviously those two characters were my most fun, because I could put the most energy in terms of them not looking like real FBI agents, sort of, you know?
Mm-hmm. And it's good to see Kirsten still wears some of your costumes.
Yeah, she made off with a lot of costumes.
I saw that question yesterday or the day before on Twitter, and the edict the studio put out was nothing, and then they changed their mind. Actors don't get anything at the end of the season, and then they changed their mind when there was some pushback, and they said, okay, you get one outfit, one complete outfit from your stock, and that's all you get, because they take the rest and put it into the wardrobe department. Well, who's going to want her stuff? I mean, no, I didn't mean it
Everybody.
like that.
Everybody. Yeah, but here's the thing. First of all, you have no idea how much time I spent on the phone with ABC to allow them to have those clothes. Oh. And then some of them, when I submitted the list, I had to fight for them to get, I said, you said a complete outfit. So shoes, bag, overcoat, whatever. And then, it was a nightmare. But Kirsten got a little more. She was a little more violent. But yeah, the stuff was definitely made for her. So, yeah.
Just a question for you.
Thanks, Harry.
She's my favorite cosplay. I cosplay her.
I know. You do a good job.
Well, thank you.
Barkley. Say hi, Barkley.
Okay, we've got one last question.
Just a question for you both. First of all, thanks, Kat, for letting us all join in. This has been really, really cool. And to Harry and BJ, I just want to say thanks so much for all that you do for the fans, your interactions with us on Twitter and doing the Q&As and stuff like that. It really makes being a fan of a show just this really amazing experience. And I think Criminal Minds has been one of those shows where we've really had a lot of interaction on Twitter and Instagram and things like that from the cast and the crew. They've been really amazing over the years. But what is your have you ever had any funny interactions with fans, or what's your general opinion of Criminal Minds fans?
Harry, you want to go first, or you want me to?
I love them all, and I if they care as much about the show as I do, then I feel I owe them back, and to pay attention, whether it's a funny or it's a question. I don't, I'll have some days I don't even hit Twitter or Instagram. but when I do, I try to at least like the comments, if not make a comment now and then.
Yeah.
But it's always been, that's the reason we were on the air, I think. It's 'cause
Amen.
of the fans. And enough of them, you know, nowadays we're still getting 1 million a day on Ion.
Yeah.
Wow.
A million people. That's a lot of people watching a 8-year-old show episode or something. So and that's because you know it's procedural because it has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and almost every episode does wrap it up, unless it's a 2-parter. But I've just always enjoyed it, and I've had a couple of distant fans that I allowed to come to set. Martina or Marty, if you guys know that woman.
No.
She was from Italy, somewhere in the middle of Italy, and she somehow got a hold of me. And I'm in town with my brother and his friend, and is there any way? And I did it. And I'm telling you, 5 years later, she's still talking about that visit. And it was great that I could do it. I had to be hush about it because I can't, you know, pretty soon.
Everybody.
You know, all 4 of you ladies would be saying, well, I booked my trip to LA.
I can't ever afford that.
That's something we just can't do, you know. A lot of people think we're not like an audience show, but if you saw how long it took to shoot a simple scene, 2 people in a room over a dead body, it's 2.5 hours. Angles and pulling walls out of sets and camera angles and doing whatever the director wants to make it look different than everybody else. And you're in the way. Basically, I go to visit set when I'm called. Like BJ will get called to set to fix something, but I'm in the way. I don't stick around set. It's too busy. Now you can't, BJ, because of protocols.
I know.
You
It's
can't.
wrong.
We're going to all be watching on video from our office. Whatever the camera sees, we can't be on set sitting next to the director or the script supervisor. It's just them. Maybe the writer, I guess they'll allow. But anyway, it gets a little crazy on set for visitors. They don't understand. It's not like it's an audience show. We have a proscenium where they can sit and watch watch a scene go down because it's a killer.
Yeah, it seems like fun until you realize that you too will know all the lines, because it does take a long time. But it is all you guys. I mean, all you guys that are out there watching, that build up the audience, that make a show that allows us to keep doing it every season. So I think that everybody's aware of that, and that's why there's a certain kindness to the fans. I mean, a lot of fans sent jewelry to Garcia, and every now and again I would put a piece on, you know, as a nod to them. And I remember doing an article, I think for Entertainment Weekly, and that's what I was saying. You know, I do it as a nod to a fan. I mean, they don't always know that she's wearing it unless you're a super fan and you catch it. But yeah, we wouldn't have stayed on all those years if we didn't have, you know, good producers, good writers, talented cast, and, you know, a good crew behind everybody, I think. And then, you know, the viewership, it's obviously important. And I too snuck a fan on set. So, you know, it was just, we had built up a relationship over something. And, you know, she happened to be in LA, and Johnny Hatchett was super great and sat with her on set because I was super busy. And she just loved it to pieces. And of course, when you're a fan and you're on a show that you're a huge fan of, it's, I'm sure, like an earthquake. But yeah, so it's nice when you can do that for somebody.
Yeah, I think one of my pleasures was once or twice a year we get Make-A-Wish. And,
Oh, yeah.
and one of the participants would win a trip to the set. And it was usually hard to coordinate because sometimes they're incapacitated or you have to come in from out of town. So you have to pick a date. And a lot of times we don't know what we're shooting next Monday exactly until Friday for sure. So, you know, it may not be a conducive set for them to come visit, especially location work. It's really hard, really difficult. A lot of equipment's sprung out all over the place. But you know, this show, it's a genre that maybe Dexter came out about the same time, but it's a genre of the dark side of crime and how a team solved it with, you know, 80% truth the way we depicted it. Some of the crimes, Jim Clemente, who was our advisor at first and became a writer, you know, a lot of the shows started on a true tale. We embellished it, or sometimes they were so horrible we had to bring it back or it would never go on the air.
Yeah.
Look how many crime shows that have copied us, you know, there's all kinds.
For sure. I mean, even Quantico that came out after us, because this show was originally named Quantico for the pilot, and then they changed it. I'm pretty sure that's correct.
Yeah, that was Mark Gordon's show too.
Yeah. He's copying his own show over.
Yeah. Keep running it to death, you know. He came in and talked. The cast was getting a little unruly at one point, so he came to visit, and we had brought them off set and had a little like half-hour meeting, and he cajoled them and everything. He thanked everybody about the millions of dollars that he's made, which has allowed him to do his other movies.
Yeah. He's a good guy.
I've seen his deal. I don't know what his back end deal is, but I'm telling you, the front end deal, I'd take that any day. The per episode, you know, I mean, I'm a little better off than BJ, but we're on a salary per episode, you know, per week, you know, and there's some out there that just roll it in every time. You know, Erica was so great. She's paid her money for the wrap parties. Studios, after 9/11, stopped allowing the show to pay for a wrap party each season, and she paid for everything. She and Mark paid for us to go to Las Vegas one weekend. Remember that?
Yeah, that
they all flew us there on 2 planes, flew us all there, buses that took us right to the hotel. We were pre-checked in. We went right to our rooms and right down to the tables getting drunk, and then a party all night. And then 2 p.m. the next day, we got to be in the lobby to go home. And she
that
paid.
was, yeah, that was so much fun. They were also generous. I thought all the producers had pitched in for that. Was it just Mark and Erica?
On that one. Oh, and
I sent a thank you note to all of them.
They hit up the agency that the talent agency that the writer of the creator of the show.
Sure.
Their agency, if it goes to series, they get a fee every episode. So do the math. CAA got $75,000 an episode for doing nothing except presenting the script to the networks and it got picked up. That's where the
Harry,
money.
why aren't we working on that in quarantine?
Yeah, no kidding, no shit. I'm
I'm
telling
thinking that as well.
Yeah, let's use it as a
you. Do the
writer's
math, 352 or 323 times $75,000. And then there's back end every time it's sold to syndication or to another part of the world. You know, it's very popular in the UK, Australia, Middle East. It's really big. Those are all different networks, all different financial deals when they go buy a season or more.
I think we're in the wrong business.
Syndication's crazy.
Well, my wife Rhonda is always saying, "Well, how come you can't get in that?" That's because I'm not. I don't write them. I don't direct them. You know, the directors do very well on residuals. I'm just blessed. I'm safe enough to get through this goddamn pandemic. I haven't worked in a year. Is that your longest, PJ, to be off work? A year?
Oh yeah. Well, you know, I took when we went down, I intentionally took time off because of my father's passing.
Yeah.
So I wanted to spend time with my mom. And just as I was getting ready to go back to work, then this happened. So I was a little dismayed, to say the least. So yeah, I've been off for a while.
Yeah.
I miss work, I have to say. And, you know, even the private clients I have seem to be afraid to have any kind of interaction for me to even go shopping for them. I mean, I've done a couple things, but yeah, I just find that a lot of people are afraid, and I'm just not afraid. So I'm ready to go back to work, man. If only, keeping my fingers crossed.
Yeah. I'm ready. So I know I'll be rusty, but all these protocols we have to go through just in prep. It's you know, not the actual filming in prep. It's a lot easier for a show that's returning, where those stages and sets are already there, and they just locked them up, locked the stage doors, and walked away at the end of the season in March or whatever. But a lot easier to open. But when you have to start from scratch, everything's going to be like this. We have what, 18 departments or something, 12 departments. And we get a script and we're going to have a meeting tomorrow morning. It's going to be like this. It's going to be a Zoom meeting. You know, maybe one or two. The writer might be in the office. Everybody's going to be doing it from home, and we don't get together until we physically have to.
Yeah, it's sad, but at least you're prepping, you know?
Yeah. I'll take it.
There's one positive is the timing of this pandemic. If it had happened 5 years ago, we wouldn't have had the Zoom and everything else to keep in contact with each other.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's true.
Yeah, I just
as much as I hate homeschooling, at least with Zoom,
I did a Zoom.
keep in contact with.
Me and two guys are putting together our North Hollywood High School 60th reunion. Yeah, 1961. So we did a Zoom meeting and got everything settled up front. We've got our venue. Now all we have to do is live long enough to go to it.
Well, hang on. That's probably right around the corner.
Yeah, it is. I'll probably be working. By then, I'll probably be working and can't go.
Maybe you can Zoom from set.
Yeah, PJ, the latest is Chicago.
Wait, It's in Chicago?
For Erica's show.
Oh,
The
okay.
latest is Chicago.
Oh, so Georgia, no more.
Unless they hire a number 1 and 2 actor on the call sheet that demand LA. But a lot of times they'll go for a location shoot, and if it goes to series, they'll demand LA.
Yeah,
Like Criminal Minds that was shot in Vancouver.
that's right.
Uh,
Well, at least it won't be cold in Chicago right now, so that's a plus.
Well, yeah, no, it's going to be October. September prep, October shoot. And that's a perfect time there. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Chicago's beautiful, and the people are super nice in Chicago.
Right. Well, 80% of it is in a hospital. So we're in a, there's very little character development that goes on outside the hospital. So that's the way the series will be too. Kind of like Grey's Anatomy. If it ever gets off the ground.
That's why I stopped watching it.
Any
So is it cheaper to shoot in Chicago, or I notice a lot of New Orleans? Is it cheaper there than it is in LA, or is it just to mix it up a bit?
Yeah, certain areas like Chicago has a tax incentive.
Oh, okay.
And you don't pay any sales tax on stuff from hotel rooms to materials, rentals, whatever. And they give rebates on the crew, 30% for those you hire in Chicago. Like on this, costume designer, director, a few select department heads would come in from LA. And then they'd have to get their crew locally as much as possible. Like BJ would come in and she'd probably be able to bring her supervisor, but she'd have to get local talent. And they have it there. Well, now with all those shows there, Chicago PD, teachers, Chicago this, Chicago that, I don't know. But
yeah, all the Wolf shows are there. Plus, one of the girls who used to work on CM moved to Chicago. So there is the crew there.
Yeah, there's the crew. Atlanta's a big film hub now. They were talking about that for a while. Vancouver. New Orleans is a big film hub. New York has a tax incentive, although I don't know if they refurbished it because of the pandemic. They make money by giving money. It's a weird setup.
Yeah, a lost leader.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
I think if everyone's good, I think we're done.
Any last questions?
Unless you guys have got a question for us.
Just thank you for everybody for doing this. It's been amazing.
Yeah.
It's been
Thank
fun.
you, guys.
You're welcome.
It's great to talk.
All Kat's doing. Thank you, Kat. Love you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. If Kat come to LA, I would have snuck her on the set.
There we go.
Now you tell
Why
her.
did we know? Yeah. Come on, it's too late now.
Or Chicago.
It's been great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, BJ.
BJ,
And give
Thank you.